Hello and welcome to episode number 7 of Down to the Core. Today we have, if you can see, there's actually a seat behind this guy, but this man mounted here is my good friend, Aaron Hudson. How you doing, Aaron?
All good, man. All good.
Right, so you know what? I've been looking forward to this because, obviously, basically a couple of weeks ago he was meant to come on, but there was certain things was going on at the time. And I was like, Aaron, you do what you need to do because I just wanted to get you on. I don't care what it takes. And here we are today. Just going to go through. It feels like I've done this completely backwards. It's almost like I've kind of forgot my co-host there, Jacob.
Hi guys, that's fine. It's fine. How you doing, John?
Yeah. This is the professional outfit that she's this is the level of our professionalism.
I love it. I love it very much.
Yeah, so I think I wanted to get you on, and I think the first thing that you said to me was like, John, why would you want someone like me? And I'm like, Aaron, you've got like so much to offer. You've got like so much inside there. And
to offer, whether people want it or not is a different thing altogether.
No, but you know what? It's like there's never been a time when I've spoken to it and I haven't had like some form of gem from you.
Yeah.
And I think we just do
likewise.
Yeah. So like so when I said that to you, and I kind of knew what your answer was going to be. Oh, John, I don't know why you want me on there. I've got nothing to say. I'm like, no, you've got plenty to say. I think anybody knows, Aaron.
Like I say, I've got loads to say. It's whether people want to listen or not is the problem.
They will definitely listen. So
looking forward to this one. Here we go.
So basically, me and you've known each other for it's 2000. I think it's about to say 2015. 2015. Yeah, 2015.
9 years, man.
Yeah, 2015. So I remember.
How old do you feel now saying that? Like 2015, like you just think, oh, that was 9 years ago.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Just reminding me.
We always say like our kids, like we watch our kids grow.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, look at they were once this big, now they're sort of up. You look at them all, like you just think, shit, where did time? And the thing is, we've aged at the same time at the same rate that they have.
Yeah.
And you start noticing grey hair, and you start thinking, oh shit.
Well, I had hair. That was it. I had hair. Well, it's just funny when people just go, 10 years ago. It is mad. Like I can remember 9 years ago, I just finished uni, and I had hair. So that's my.
There's almost like checkpoints. It's like when you leave school at the age of what, 16.
Yeah.
So when you hit 32, it's like, right, I've been out of school 16 years, but I was in school for 16 years.
Yeah.
Then driver's license 17. It's like, right, well, I've been driving longer than I've not been driving for.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden the balance just sort of goes. Yeah. Balance of age sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
On like a seebecause
it's just it's hence why with everything I do, I never put numbers in there. So because I think just spinning back round, like I think like there's a time when I'm like I'd never weigh anything. I don't want to look at no scales. I just don't want.
It was easy, wasn't it?
Yes. So
because we always did that.
Yeah.
You always did.
Yeah.
And me towards the latter end of bodybuilding, I was like, I'm not weighing this. Like, it doesn't fucking matter if this is 250 grams or 270. It makes no difference in the big picture. But it's that sort of attention to detail, and all of a sudden you think, it's not really, it doesn't matter. Look at the big picture, and that's exactly the way age works at the end of the day. It's just a number.
Yeah. So I'm glad you've kind of come in there.
Wasn't always that way. Age doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So we'll segue in. So like I remember the first time I've seen you in Flex, and you was the Mecca. The Mecca of training for us, man. So like you was just like the biggest guy in the gym. Aaron had arms like this. Oh, so basically, Aaron had like arms like this, legs like this, and you just went dark when you.
You're like that. Doing a bicep curl.
Yes.
Why's he got?
But hang on. You won your pro card. I didn't. That's the arms like this don't matter when it comes to it. So I remember like we met at Flex, and I remember seeing you. I think it gets to a point with bodybuilding. You probably know this. You can look at somebody and say they've got it. You know, like they've got the genetics. There's a look. There's a roundness to the muscles. There's a shape to the physique, and you had it in spades. And I said to you from day one. I think that's how we kind of got talking. So I was like, "You can compete?" You're like, "No." I was like, "You should."
Yeah.
And that's just kind of where it kicked off from. But you see it all the time, especially in young lads. You can see them when they're sort of 17, 18, 19. They've just started working out and they respond really quick. And it's just that sort of you're there now already, definitely. But you get that eye when you can tell somebody's going to be something special. And that was always. I'm not just blowing smoke. I've always said that.
I appreciate that a lot because I think it was. You know, it was more so just you. It was you and Faisal.
Yeah.
It was you and Faisal.
I love that guy.
I will say. Firstly, it was Pete Webb.
Yep.
So it's Pete Webb who used to.
Do you know? I don't think I've ever met Pete Webb. I don't think I've ever met him. Everybody I know, it's like Ernie Taylor. I've never met Ernie Taylor. No. But yet everybody I know knows him really well. And the amount of times I've been in the gym and like somebody said, "Oh, you've just missed Ernie." I was like, "Oh fuck," because I'd love to have just. I spoke to his sister once, believe it or not.
Okay.
Do you want me to go into?
Oh no, mate. Listen, just go on.
I was in Tesco in Stourbridge, and this little lady, she got like 4 foot nothing, kind of walks over and she started talking to me about bodybuilding, and we were talking away, and I was just kind of like, you know, she's a lovely lady. I'm having a conversation, and she said, "Oh, you might know my brother." I was like, "Okay, who's that?" Ernie Taylor. I was like, "Fucking everybody knows your brother." Like, and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, okay," but I've never met the guy. But yeah,
because I think within our area we have people like we've got like some great people like even from the bodybuilding in different sections. Yeah. Like growing up, and like I say, like Pete Webb was like one of the awesome one of the main guys, and like like when you talk about Pete and Ernie and Steve and all those guys. So if anybody's listening,
Steve Johnson,
they know. So it was Pete used to bug me. He used to premise. He used to come and talk to me and whisper and go, "Come here, son. You got to get yourself in the gym. You got to get your mate. Yeah." And then I think I started training when you and Faisal kind of just jumped on me. It's like, "John, you got to do it." Yeah. And then
because it's rare, man. It's rare.
And
it's rare to have that look.
There. Because one thing I was going to ask is like, I think as much as we spoke about, I never asked like, how did you get into like?
Okay, so I started training when I was nearly 20, and I got an ex-girlfriend who I absolutely hate. Can I swear on this, by the way?
You can say
okay, cool. Bleep it out. Or I fucking hated this girl. Like we've been together forever, and it was comfortable, and I wish her well now, and all the rest of it. But I used to go to the gym with two friends up in Sedgley. It used to be called Figures. It's maybe taken over now. I don't know what it's called, but. I just used to go up there with my mates, and we used to go up there. We used to do a few bicep curls, fuck around on the treadmills, go back to his house. He had his own house. He was a bit older than me. We used to go back to his house, and we used to eat tuna and mayonnaise and pretend we were like bodybuilders. But I responded really quickly, and it was just a way of sort of keeping myself busy. And like I say, I responded really quickly, so I stuck with it, and I was around people like you've just said. People were sort of encouraging me, and have you thought about training? I was being accused left, right, and centre of being on gear and all the rest of it, and I wasn't. And it went from there. Really, it snowballed. I met a guy called Steve Lewis.
Okay.
Steve Lewis is another guy from the 90s who knew Ernie Taylor, knows Steve Johnson, sort of around that sort of era, the golden era as they always call it. And he took the time to come to the gym with me and teach me how to train. That's where I learned the 12 sets from. So the 12 set principle, which I've always trained and stuck to, is you have 12 sets per body part to train. So I typically do 3 exercises, 4 sets per exercise, or 4 exercises, 3 sets. So there's a total of 12 sets. And I just stuck to that. And he taught me the basics. He taught me the basics of nutrition. And it just went from there, really. And he just... That was all it was, and I just got better and better and met more people. And the thing for me with bodybuilding, I won a few shows, but I was never really successful on stage. It was always the stuff outside of the competitive stage, if you like, for want of a better phrase. That's where I sort of really did well, like with supplement companies. I always had a supplement sponsor. I'd finish with one and another one would be there. Like I always did really well. And travelled all over, expos, the people I've met. It's always been the stuff outside of the stage, which is where I've really benefited. So, and that's where I enjoyed it the most. I enjoyed competing, don't get me wrong. I enjoy the sort of the regime and the sort of the discipline and all the rest of everything that it takes. But I always enjoyed meeting the people and meeting different faces, all that sort of stuff. That was always the bit I enjoyed the most. But
it's kind of weird that because like in that case, me and you are then completely opposite.
Right.
So like I never had nothing outside of like.
No, yeah, I always found that really weird.
I never had like no. There was never no sponsors.
See, that's why I feel like a bit of a fraud in a way, because as you say, you did exceptionally well. So it's almost like all of the, you know, the Muscle Tech, the CMP, the Strom, all the companies, the Mammoth, all the companies that I was with. It's almost like I shouldn't have had that. You should have had that. You
that sounds weird. You saying that, because I would assume from watching.
It doesn't work that way, then.
Yeah, it's
really
weird. Like when I'm watching like sort of Ryan Tate and other bodybuilder competitors, they go, "Oh yeah, I'm sponsored by Gymshark. I'm sponsored by My Protein. Is it USN? Another company." Like to hear that from you, because you've won multiple.
It's really weird.
You got nothing from that.
I think the thing that kind of went in my favour was the fact that I was almost like I look back at photos now, John, and I don't relate to that person. I look at photos and I'm like, fuck, I can look back now and go, no, that was good.
Yeah.
But I don't look at a photo and think that was me. It's really weird. It's almost like it's a different person.
Yeah.
And at the time, I remember taking photos. Like in my back, I always used to take my photos in the back garden, because it's natural sunlight and you can't hide anything with downcast light or anything else. And it's like I used to look at photos and be like, oh, fucking hell, what am I doing this for? It was depressing. At the time, it was depressing.
Yeah.
I was like, get that off. Whereas now I look at photos and I'm like, geez, I was actually quite good. Well, I was big at least. And I think that's kind of what always went in my favour, was I was kind of almost like a bit of a walking freak show.
Yeah,
in a weird way. But
because like I did, you know what? Yes, like unless it was like people on magazines or on my screen, I didn't know anybody like who was, because like ultimately when you train in gyms over the years, guys get big.
Yeah.
Everybody even gets big, but like not many guys get big and are in your condition, in your shape that you were in. Hence why, like I think like we were talking like to like Daryl, and like it was, and it's that thing. Like, sometimes you sit within like your own body and you look at it so much to the point where you kind of you give it such a hard time. You
do. No, you really do.
That's true though, because you never see yourself every day. Though,
that's just the nature of bodybuilding. You're never happy. You're never happy.
You never.
No, so like and it's only when you kind of mentioned it now. Like obviously, like I never had anybody come to me or say you were sponsor and like, but it didn't bother me, because I think I was at a point where
you didn't do it for that though. You always used to do it, and I always remember you used to go to the shows. You used to take your mom, you used to take your son. And it was like it was a
like a bit of a day out, really.
Yeah, like the work had been done, and it was just the show was just there just to put a full stop on it.
Because I've had a bit of like a ritual and routine.
Yeah,
but like about like just going backstage and just talk to people and being happy and put my earphones and dance around.
Remember that one show we did? We were on the same show down in London.
Yes.
Just backstage, me and him, were the happiest people in the world.
Yeah,
but that's good though. That's good. Like
that's the way it should be.
Everybody
else is there like
that. Yes, like
me mugging, really sort of
just watching videos of their like journey. It's got the most dramatic music and all that.
Yeah.
That and it's nice to see the you pair like just like dancing and getting jiggy with it.
And I think people take themselves too serious in bodybuilding.
Way too serious.
I mean, if you look, I don't know who I've kind of been out of it for a while now, but if you look at like the influencers, the people at the top of the game, they're always the one with the most charisma, the most. Look at Luke Sando to drop a name. Like people loved him because he was just funny.
Yeah,
like he just would come out with the most random shit, and people liked that about him. But then there's the more serious sort of like reserved, don't say much bodybuilders don't really get much attention, so to speak. Really sweating on this.
So I love off tonight. So people, so I'm sweaty bad. People want personality. They want to know like the real side.
Yeah.
One thing, you know what? Like one thing I want, because we're on the show, and like I've said this many times before, but like I want everyone to know this, because like not many people know that like you helped me with my first show.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like
it help. It was more like your genetics. So you could tell him to eat cat food and he'd still grow.
It
wasn't difficult.
Target cat food.
Cat food.
So like Aaron pretty much helped me keep my head on in my first show.
Okay. That's half the battle, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just, it's almost like I wouldn't say like I didn't have anybody. I think like I'm very picky and choosy about like who I want to be around or who I want to give like my time and effort to. And I feel like if I've got like something genuine from someone, I'm like, yeah, man, that's my. It's like if I say that's my guy,
That's my guy.
Yeah, just like other guy.
It's a trusted voice, isn't it?
Yeah,
and it was the thing I always loved about Flex, especially when I was getting. I mean, I'd imagine it's still the same now, but when I was getting ready for a competition, they had that little boxing room. Do you remember? They're not the what. It looks better now. Don't get me wrong. It looks a lot better now. But they had that little boxing room, and with the mirror, and the lighting was decent. And we used to strip off in the gym. Like whoever was competing would strip off, and the whole gym sort of like congregates around, and everybody's like, you know, they're there like with their expert eye face. Like, yeah, I know what I'm looking for here. But it's like everybody supported.
Yeah,
and that was always. I always loved that part of training. That was always the best bit for me. Was the sort of the camaraderie, if you like.
Yeah, and you was the first, because I'd go in the gym and you'd go, right, John, let's have a look.
Yeah.
Get your top off, have a look.
And it was like, oh, not it. I was like, John, you got the best physique in the gym. Just fucking whip it off, man. Like,
You know what? As you say that now, I remember that because like, even with my first show, being backstage, and I was with my pal, and he was going, "What, John, you got to get ready to go on stage."
That was Body Power, wasn't it?
Yeah,
because I introduced you to Pat Warner.
Yes, you did. Yeah, I think I just ate so much CMP stuff that day.
Just giving you loads of like samples.
Yeah, samples everywhere. But like I was backstage, and my pal was like, "Tick top up," John. Like, and I was so kind of nervous about it. But like, how would you say to me, John, you know what you've got on Leaf there? He's got, oh, mate, just get it off. And he's like,
I did it with Kaka, did a show. When was that? 2019, something around that sort of time, 2018, 2019. And he was backstage, his first time as at Birmingham Town Hall. It was a PCA show. And he was dead nervous. And Faisal was there, so I couldn't speak to him. So I went backstage, what's the matter? So I'm dead nervous. I was like, mate, he's got no legs. He's got but I didn't do it to their face. I was I was doing it to Kaka to try and after a while, you sort of like, you know, he's got no legs, he's small, he's fat, he hasn't even bothered dieting. You'd say all these things, and all of a sudden his confidence was like, strip off. Remember who the fuck you are. Remember all the work you've done to get to this point. You're a winner regardless. Today is just, it's just the full stop. At the end of the whole thing, you know, it's the work. It's not like a boxing match where it's like, well, all that training is worth nothing if I take a sucker punch in this match. It's like you've done the work. Nobody can take away what you've done. You've just got to go out there and present it. It's weird bodybuilding. I hate when people call it sport. It's not a fucking sport.
No.
It's judged by strangers. Nobody puts a ball in the back of the net or through a hoop or anything else. Nobody hits a home run. It's just, you're just judged on how you look, and you know, and
as
passion.
It's and it's just like so subjective.
Oh god,
so subjective.
It's weird because from one show to the next, you know, somebody who's big but slightly out of shape might win, but then the next show somebody smaller but ripped will win, and you never know. Bodybuilding's a game of more. Physique's different, I think, because there's a certain look. But with bodybuilding, it's the more size, the more symmetry, the more separation, the more condition. More is better of everything.
Yeah.
And whoever's got the most should win.
Yeah.
Whereas with physique, it's kind of, there's got to be a look. There's got to be this. You know, look at classic physique. You've got people who are undersized bodybuilders, sort of growing a moustache and doing some weird pose above the head, and it's like, oh, I'm classic physique now. It's like, you're not. There's a look to that. There's a genetic. But you'd be ace. That's it, because you've got tiny waist, you've got big shoulders, round. You'd fly. I think you've got legs as well. You know?
You always said to me, like, when me and you talk, it's like, I'm telling you how great you are, and like you're like, nah, and you're telling me like, oh, John, you should, and I'm like, I don't know what Aaron sees.
It's quite sad, really.
Everyone is that. I think everyone is that. Like, so one of my friends, he's like, I'm like, bro, your physique's changing. He's like, he's got a good.
You don't see it in yourself, though.
He doesn't see it in himself. When there's me, I'm like, nah, it's fine. Like, nah, it's fine. He's like, I want a physique like you. I'm like, me? Nah, but I'm picking
holes in
yourself.
And that's what I was always like when I was competing. Whereas now I look back, I'm like, I was a little bit fat, I was a little bit watery, but really that was quite good. Really, I didn't appreciate it at the time. It's only now I don't look that way, and that's intentional. You know, I am trying to, like, I'm 36 now. I am trying to, like, size down. I'm down to 270 from like 300, but I'm getting there. But I don't relate to that person anymore. It's really weird, really weird. Proud of it, don't get me wrong. You know, I've had a good time, but I don't relate to that look anymore. It's really weird.
Aaron's shadow used to make a noise.
My shadow?
His shadow used to make a noise with you.
Definitely fatty. Good times, man. Competing.
Yes. So obviously, I'm gathering from, like, obviously the the nature of the conversation we're having now, that like it won't be something you'd go back to at any? Or,
I don't think so.
Have you thought about it at all?
I don't think so, if I'm honest. I did my first show in 2012, October 2012. I just turned 24, and it was almost like I did that show, and then I qualified for the British finals the following. This was NABA. Qualified for the British finals the following May, I think it was. I did that show. So so I did my first show, got the book for it, and I was like, right, I've got a show in a few months' time. So I dieted over Christmas, the New Year, did the British finals, and then it was like, right, when's the next show? It was I chose one in like 12 months' time. It was about 14, 15 months' time the following year. So then it was like, right, dieted for all, sort of got ready, put some size on, improved for that show. Then it was like, right, what's next? British finals, right? And I got into this loop of going from show to show, to the point where before I'd even done the show I was aiming for, I already knew which show I was going for afterwards.
Yeah.
The following year. And like I said, I did that for 9 years. And in my head, I was like, I'm never going to stop doing this. It's almost like an addiction. I thought, I'm just going to do this until I'm in my 60s, 70s, or however long I last, until the heart goes bang. But then obviously it was cut dead stop. I just got back from Portugal, and it was cut dead stop. And I had months to recover my knees and my triceps and everything. And I was like, why am I doing this? It was the first time I'd sat down. It sounds really stupid, but it's the first time I'd sat down and thought, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I'm winning all the time. It's not like I'm getting any sort of benefits, the wrong word, because as I say, I enjoyed the things outside of the stage, off the stage. But I took stock and I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm miserable throughout the year. I'm not attentive because I'm eating, or when I say attentive, as in, if we had a day out as a family, I was always like, right, I need this, I need this, I need this. We'd end up going to a place with like a baby bag full of stuff just for me.
Yeah.
And then there was the kids. It was. I didn't really enjoy it, and I was like, I don't eat off plan. I was very regimented with it all. And then obviously there's the anabolic side of things as well. Now I was very lucky. I didn't have to use huge amounts. But I was like, how long am I going to be able to sort of walk this line before something goes?
Yeah.
So like I say, I sort of I sort of recovered, and then I went and got an echocardiogram done. I got my bloods done, and everything was clear. My heart was good, bloods were good. I was like, you know what? I could walk away now scot-free. Whereas I know bodybuilders now in their 50s who are suffering because of things they did in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. And I'm like, do I really want to do? I don't think I want to.
You know what? I'm glad you've kind of brought that up.
I think if I'd won my pro card, if I was competing on a bit, if I was James Hollinshead, for example, now James is absolutely, or Samson, they're both absolutely flying, making a ton of money. To them, it's absolutely worthwhile. But for me, I wasn't as good as they are. So it just wasn't. I didn't think it was worthwhile. I couldn't put my wife, my kids, friends. You're not putting them through it, but they're having to watch you do it, and they're having to suffer the side effects of everything.
I've said before, it's a very selfish.
It is a selfish fish, especially when you've got. Sorry to interrupt.
No.
With like wife and kids, I think I like when, because I don't do body competing bar prep for a photo shoot and stuff. It is selfish because you like you're eating certain foods where you're just eating the foods that's going to help you get the results.
Got to fuel the machine.
Yeah, and you don't see it as enjoyment. You just see that's my food I'm eating. And especially when like your loved ones, let's go out for a meal. No, I can't. Can you have this? No, I can't. Or we go out for a meal, but I've already like planned ahead of what calories hit my macros. So I think the other day, like we went out for food, and like I not like went to Nando's. Now my go-to meal for Nando's is half a chicken, rice and veg. I've always had that for years.
So chicken, rice and veg.
Essentially.
Sounds like a
bodybuilder meal. But I've always enjoyed that. Like half a chicken, and obviously put more sauce on, better side of halloumi, bit dabble in chips. But I went to Nando's the other day, and I had to hit my quota, and I was just like, right, how much calories I got left? And I was like, chicken butterfly grilled burger, and just no rice, no chips, just vegetables, and it was tasty. But I just sat there going, this ain't fun, especially when you've got loved ones as well, and it's coming like anniversary, birthday parties. You're like, nah, babe, I can't do it.
No, because it's, I think it is very much so, and I think like for myself, I was quite lucky because there's only whenever like I've done anything, it's only ever going to be like the only people who would probably be affected be like between me, my mum, and my son.
Yeah.
I've got a big family, but like I said, those are the main people I'm around. It only took my mum probably like about like a very short amount of time to understand what I had to do, and she was like, "Bam!" My mum's like obviously my biggest cheerleader, my biggest supporter, and she understood it. So like it was worked out well. But I think I just kind of made sure I kept away from other people who's going, "Can you come out here?" I'm like, "No." Can you do this? No. Can you drink that? No. And then after all, I'm like, I don't want to keep on answering this question because it's depressing me. It's depressing me now because I know what I have to do. But at the same time, I know they want their friend to come out and enjoy a night out or whatever. And they'll go, "You can have fun, can't you?" Like, you don't understand what that one thing would do to my head.
It's psychological more than anything, because realistically, if you've let's just say you're getting ready for a competition, if you've spent, I don't know, 10 weeks dieting for a show, one meal isn't going to do anything. No. But psychologically, you just fucked the whole thing up. Yeah. And it's just not worth that sort of.
Well, when you told me to go for that Burger King and Coke, mate, when I was prepping, and I come down way too much. And I don't think I was having.
You look flat, if I remember. You're really sort of like
very flat. Yeah. I had no calories or nothing in me, and like I would just look kind of. I look like the kind of person like who was not asking for a pound or sell you a microwave in the street.
He'd grown the beard. He hadn't had a shower for like 3 weeks.
I would look harsh. Like, Aaron looked at me and he was like, he said, "John, you need to get something in you." So I remember him. It was almost like it was like my most favourite person that day because I'm like, he knows stuff and like look at so. I remember you saying to me, "Go to Burger King." He said, "John, go to Burger King. Get yourself a burger and a Coke and some fries, and then give me a shout tomorrow." And I'm like, I don't know if that's the right thing, but I'm going to do it anyway. I went there and I think I ate the food and I hummed. I was like,
"Oh God, yeah."
And I ate it all, and I was sitting in my car because I didn't even drive off the car park.
Sat in the drive. Thanks, love. I'll just sit here and eat this.
And I remember wake up next morning and I looked and I was like, "Wow!" And I was just like.
It's the salt is what it is. It's the sodium.
So it's like, as I say, like that it's very much psychological. That one meal's not going to do anything.
No, it's true. Like what because they keep saying even one meal's not going to hurt. It's like, but like you said, psychological. Psychological is horrible.
Yeah, man. So like I know, like we was talking about like you may or may not go back to the computer, but like and. There was something that you spoke about before in between what you were saying about like obviously like anabolics and people like starting from an early age and seeing people seeing some of our like heroes in the state they're at in like their 50s and later on. And like I think it was Ronnie Coleman saying like he saying he wouldn't change anything, but like he's in a wheelchair and and I think there's like a lot of the youngsters now, and they're jumping onto so many different things, and like they're pushing so many things into their body, not realizing that like they're not even 25 yet.
Yeah, and there's a theory on it. They think, right, okay, so when we were younger, it was almost like to get access to gear, to get access to the knowledge, you had to be in the circle because there's no internet. No, I'm not talking like however long ago. There's no message boards, there's no Facebook, there's no Instagram, there's none of that sort of stuff. And you had to be in the circle, and you had to be in the right gym, in the right circle to get access to that sort of knowledge and those sorts of contacts to do whatever. Whereas, so you were almost like you had to be accepted into the circle. Whereas now it's like everything's just freely available. So people are going online, and there's the great thing with the internet is there's so much information. The bad thing with the internet is there's so much information because there's so much. Like it's like you Google, "Oh, I've cut my thumb," and it looks weird. So you Google it, whatever. You're going to die. Your head's going to drop off. There's going to be something drastic. So there's information overload. Now, apply that to bodybuilding, especially when it comes to gear. People are looking at things and going, well, so-and-so is doing this much. So-and-so says taking aromatase inhibitor. So-and-so says you need X amount of GH or whatever else. And there's so much conflicting information, and it's information overload. And then the access to the stuff that they want is so easy to get hold of, and it's just a mess. They've got all the gear and absolutely too many ideas, so they've got no idea. That's the problem, I think, now. But what do you do? You know?
The thing is, like, I've seen like some like young lads, and like I think so many of them, like they want to go down like the Sam Sulek route.
Yeah.
You know Sam Sulek, don't you?
Sam
Sulek.
Oh, I've seen him online. Yeah, I know Samson. Yeah, but
yes. Well, the Sam Sulek. Are you old? Is Jake?
He's like 21. 21. Yeah.
He's an absolute beast, but like I think like he's whacking like obviously you know what? Yeah, let me take that back because I don't know what he's putting in, but like it doesn't look healthy.
No,
but like that's just my opinion.
I don't know too much about him. I've seen him.
So from what he's a fitness content creator.
Yeah.
He's like 21. He's absolutely massive, and like he just gives tips, training and stuff. Like, but a lot of bodybuilders like watched his diet and they're going, yeah, that's not healthy. Where I think when he was bulking, he was like,
competed or anything.
No,
not yet.
He's not competing yet, but he's been approached by a few people to start competing.
Right.
But like some of the diet tips he's been given, or he's telling to people, and everyone's like watching again. Really, you want to give him that?
One thing I will say is like, I don't think he gives advice or tips. He just shows what he does.
Yeah.
And I think there's a difference.
Yeah,
but I think that there's. Sorry to interrupt again, but I think there's a few people who will go, "This is what I do," and then he goes, "Well, I'm gonna try that," and then they will go, "Well, he did it."
There's so many factors though. Like genetics plays a huge
100%
huge role. And I've learned that since the fitness portal.
Yeah.
I've learned how, and the thing is as well, it's kind of like it's validated. Testing my DNA has sort of validated that the 12 sets works for me because of my genetics. I respond well to both high reps and low weight. I'm trying to get it right, yeah, and then also high weight and low reps. So higher volume, low volume. I respond well to both, but I do respond slightly better to lower volume, a more Dorian approach. So the 12 sets of like, right, that's all you've got, work fine for me. And it's like the way I used to diet. Like I used to have carbs. I couldn't consume carbohydrates. I couldn't lose weight on carbohydrates. My DNA test showed me that I respond extremely well to protein, really well to unsaturated fats. Saturated fats I need to keep low, and carbohydrates I need to keep low. And that was exactly what I was doing in the last few years when I looked my absolute best. And the thing is, as you say, if you've got one guy, this Sam guy, doing something, it's working great for him.
Yeah.
You can have somebody with a completely different genetic profile trying to emulate this. It'd be like trying to say, right, well, I drive an old Land Rover, and I'm going to try and drive it like Lewis Hamilton drives an F1 car. But you don't have an F1 car.
Yeah.
You don't have a Ferrari. Sam Sulek is his name.
Yeah.
He's got a Ferrari. You've got a clapped out Ford.
Yeah.
Ford Orion. If anybody remembers those things, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
and I think like I say it's like a lot of the time, like we've all got like separate genetic build, like builds, and even if you're a twin,
well, I've got twins.
Yeah,
I've got twin boys.
Even if you're a twin, they are not the same. Yeah, they are not the same. It's like what you generally do within your day, and like obviously how you've kind of eaten and how you've kind of like built yourself over the year. It's not exactly the same as your twin brother has done.
And the thing is as well, there's not just, you know, this. It's not just a case of, well, I respond to this style of training, I respond to this style of dieting. There's other factors such as like your stress management. Some people don't respond well to stress. If they've got stress, external stress, work, partner, family, whatever, right, that impacts their training genetically. Whereas some people, I don't have this. Some people it doesn't affect them at all.
I tried to explain to someone before.
Yeah, you can't
about myself because I don't do stress. I don't.
You're the most chill person I know. I've never seen John anxious or stressed ever.
No, I don't really. It doesn't. I'm like this. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like solution guy. Yeah. My cousin Gareth loves it. I told that to my cousin Gareth the other week because I was like, Gareth, I'm the solution guy. And he goes, oh, I love that. I was like, yeah, let's talk about solutions. But like, not everyone is the same because like I'm kind of all cool and stress free. It doesn't mean that somebody else is. And like you say, if I tell them about my diet and then the way I do something, and I say I'm going to do that, I'm saying it doesn't guarantee that it's going to work for you. It doesn't work, But then you go back, obviously, you jump back into like the internet realm and world, and you see like all these young guys saying, "Well, I'm going to take this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and the other." And like, yeah, they may get big, but like, I don't think a lot of them. And I think when we were probably younger, we would never really look into 10 years down the line.
No.
I don't think none of us saw that far ahead, because we just do everything as of now, because when you're 19, 20 and that sort of age, you're pretty much invincible and you know everything about the world, don't you? So like, no one needs to tell you.
How many people are getting blood work done regularly? I used to get my blood work checked 4 times a year, every quarter. Blood work. Didn't matter if I was dieting, if I was trying to put weight on. I never really tried to put weight on, it just fucking came on. But if I was getting ready for a show or wasn't getting ready for a show, I'd get my blood work done religiously, just so I knew where I was. And I was doing that from 2014, 2015, when it was just Medichecks. Now you can get blood work done everywhere, it's freely available, but not many people are doing it. And this is the meathead mentality that drives me insane. It's like, well, instead of spending 100 quid or 150 quid on a full blood panel so they can see what's going on, they'll spend that on, well, gear. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. They'd rather spend the money on that rather than, it's like the DNA test. I'm not trying to plug it, but this is why I did. This is why I got into this, because that small investment will save you in the long run. And people are so short-sighted, they won't make that investment. They won't invest in blood work. They won't invest in an echocardiogram. They won't invest. I'm doing that to check your heart. That's where your heart is, obviously. They won't invest in DNA. They won't invest in all these things. They won't invest in, on-cycle support. They won't invest in different things that will aid the journey and make their life easier, make their competing more successful, keep their health in check. They're just more of the same. More trend, more primo, more. It's the road to nowhere, really.
That's one of the reasons, like you see, so many fatalities and stuff.
I don't know. That's difficult, but I think with the fatalities, I think there's always an individual reason in every case. So Cedric McMillan was one. I was good about that. I love Cedric. There was George Peterson. I think he died at a show at the Olympia. I think it was in 2020. There was a period of time where there's a lot of bodybuilders unfortunately dropping dead, and whenever that happens, because it does seem to come in waves. I've noticed there's always almost like a wave of people going, and then it dies down, and then it comes back up. And for that brief period of time, people are in shock, and people are like, right, I'm cutting my doses down. I'm not doing this. And then it slowly creeps back in. I think every case is individual, but what's not individual is it seems that being very heavy doesn't help your heart. Who would have thought? And that was always my big thing, because I used to get heavy really easy. Like if I'd eat 3 times a day now, I'm still 270. Like I struggle to drop weight. Whereas when I was off season, like I do a competition and I would balloon up to £300 and spend the rest of my off season trying to keep below £300, because I was always very much like, well, I'm £300, I'm 5'11", I'm not meant to be this heavy, and that's stress on my heart. And I was fine. I could run around. I could, I was active, and I felt healthy. Felt being the appropriate word. My blood work was always okay, but on the same score, I was always like, I'm 300. I'm not meant to be this heavy. Like. God did not intend for me to be 300 so I need to bring this down. I wasn't comfortable with that.
It's a long way for you to be bouncing around with, like, on a day to day, because it's almost like it's almost like you're just walking around with, like, doing an actual workout as you move it. And ultimately, even with every workout, you're going to need to have a break and say, well, I'll put the weights down for a bit and then just rest.
No, it's true though. Like, I can remember, like, I had this goal of mine. Like, I wanted to bulk up, but because like most of my cousins, they're all thick set, big set, so they go well above it into the 100 kilos. I've never entered that, so I was like, I'm gonna get bulky to 90 to 100 kilos. Like, the heaviest I've ever been was like 95. That's where my body's like, this is good. Then I can remember I was pushing myself, and I got to 98, and I was literally like,
it's tiresome.
It's hard, because you're not used to having that weight on.
So then I think I just topped on the head. It's like, I can't be doing this.
But it's not just that. You feel exhausted. You feel lethargic. You don't want to eat, and it's like, what impact is that having on cholesterol, on your heart, on your liver, your kidneys, and this was the thing that I had, like, 3 years ago now. It was like, do I really want to get back into that? I'm healthy. I've stopped. I've had to stop, but I'm healthy. Everything's in order. I picked up. I'd started other things, and I was like, do I really want to go back into that sort of merry-go-round of chasing the end of the rainbow for the pro card, and then you turn pro. It's like, well, then that's another level. You've got to take more. You've got to do more. You've got to. It didn't really work for me. Like I think if it would have come easy, I think it has for some people, and I probably would have stuck with it.
Yeah.
But where I was it's not. I weighed it up. It's just not worth it. Yeah. But the good thing is, all of the stuff that I really enjoyed wasn't on stage, so I can still do all that sort of stuff. You know, it's like now. It's like, well, I get up in the morning, 5, 6 o'clock, whatever. I go to the gym. If I don't feel like going, I don't go. I'm like, well, I'm not going to beat myself up. I'll go tomorrow. It's fine.
Yeah.
If I don't eat on plan, I don't have a plan. But if I didn't eat on plan, or if I ate something shit, okay, fine. It doesn't matter so much anymore. And that freedom, you can't, like, that's just, this is how you feel all the time, isn't it? You're just like, whatever. Like all of a sudden, I'm sort of getting used to this. It's quite nice. This is how John feels. This is quite nice.
And I'll say to anybody, it's not that deep. That's what I'm saying. It's not that deep.
Because you overthink it.
Yeah,
it's I don't know if it's the gear, if it's the bodybuilding. You overthink everything, and you miss, as we said earlier, you miss the bigger picture of what's going on.
Yeah, well, so, a lot of the time, like this, as I say, like, it's gym and eating is just a small part.
It really is.
And so I value relationships. I value just doing things and like being around people, having conversations. This is my favourite thing to do. And like, you know, if I'm so kind of deep and serious in my food and my training, and I've got to do this and blah blah blah, I get to miss all that. And I say, like, I'm loving difference within people. I'll keep on saying that over and over and over again. But like, when you're so kind of sucked into something, into the bodybuilding world, it's like you generally will only ever want to talk about bodybuilding reps and
no one cares,
and nobody cares.
It's really horrible. You're there with friends. You're like, what have you been doing, Aaron? Well, working out.
It is not. I'm really saying that because I don't know. I'm just too polite to say, but like, actually, I'll join. Nobody cares. It's like mate, you look amazing today. Or
do you know, we've always said this, right? Okay, so this is my thing. I was always like, right, I want the pro card. I want to turn pro, because that, to us, in our little niche of like 0.whatever% of the population, that was the ultimate pinnacle, right? Now, if you turn around to anybody in a gym, let alone the wider society, oh, by the way, I just won my pro card, my IFBB pro card, they go, the fuck is that?
Yeah.
You look good whether you look good or not. Like, if you've got an extra little bit of body fat on your arse, which I always fucking did, which meant I didn't win, the average person doesn't care. You're still massive. You still look great.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's the bigger picture here? I can be happier, not be such a miserable fucker. I can be more free. I can still look good and get all the benefits of that, but I'm not going to appease this tiny percentage of people in this little cult world. Not to knock it, but this tiny % of people. Okay, well, I can live with that personally. You know,
these tiny % of men, Aaron.
As well. But also, about how many times have you been to a show? Right, you're there looking at what 5, 6, 7, 5 or 7 judges, and they're not even paying attention. They're like,
just scribbling down. Look at where
it's like these people, these 5 strangers, these 7 strangers that I've never met, never going to speak to, never going to see again in my life, don't know their names, won't remember their face as soon as I walk off this stage. I'm here putting my entire life through this process of misery and suffering and all this to appease these people. Why? What the fuck? Why? This is insanity. Like, why would I do this? I don't know. But you've I'm not trying to put people off, but you've kind of got to go through that to realise actually this doesn't really matter.
Of course you do, because I think like
man, I feel old talking about this.
It's
true though, isn't it? 10 years ago, I was like, no, this is the world. This is like I've got to make these 5 people happy. I've got to look really good.
And the thing is, like, and I'll say this to anyone, that like I would never talk anyone out of it, because like I say, I know the pros and I know the cons, but I would never talk anyone out of it. I'd say always do what you want to do, and then feel what you obviously, because I don't know what you're going to feel from it. It's like no difference when you talk to your kids. It's like you don't want to talk your kids out of doing something that like they've got like a passion for. So you let them go and let them go and do it. And if it works out for them, great. If it doesn't, you just say, well, listen, at least you've tried it, and now you know what it's about.
Absolutely.
Because like there's a lot of people like who say they want to look like a certain way, they want to go on a stage and whatever. But when you start to get down to the bones of it all, and you say to yourself, is that what you want to do? Is this really what you want to do? And like a lot of the time, it's like it's okay to say no, but like, you know, sometimes pride and everything gets in the way. It's like, yeah, I've got to keep on going. I can see your mental state just going to absolute pot, and like it feels just deteriorating around it. Where you're like, no, I'm going to hold on. I'm going to hold on. I'm going to keep on doing it. It's like, it's not for you. It's not for everyone.
Always said it's almost like the stars of for you to be true. It depends where you want to go to. If you just want to work out, look good, say you've been on stage, okay, cool. But if you want to get to that sort of IFBB Pro, Olympia level, like Nathan Diasha, good mate of mine, right? I've always said Nathan has all of the stars aligned. He's got phenomenal genetics. He's got the family around him. He's got the financial support. He's got his gym. Obviously, he's always had gyms around him, but he's got his own gym now. He literally has all of the stars aligned to be successful. The average Joe in the gym hasn't got one star, let alone all of them aligned. And again, do it for you, but don't do what I did and try and do it for everybody else, where it's like, well, you're trying to keep up appearances at the end of the day. As I say, I was, before it even got on stage of one show, I already knew what I was doing next year. I already knew the qualifier. I knew it all. Like, I'd got it all planned out. And that mindset, it was, as I say, it was, you're on a merry-go-round searching for you're searching for a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You're never going to get to the end of the rainbow because you're never going to be happy.
There's a big piece of rope at the end of that pot of gold.
So
and it's forever moving.
It's closer, a bit further, a bit further.
And there was something on Insta the other day, and there's somebody saying, is it possible to be lucrative within bodybuilding and bodybuilding, whether it be physique or anything like that? And like I was like, mate, if you're not in this for the love of it or for yourself or your own personal gain, keep your hands firmly in your own pockets, because that's where they'll be going to a lot of the time. Because your hands go out and they come back in, and they just forever be in your own pockets.
It's not cheap, is it?
No.
And like I said, I was always very lucky that I always had. Is that okay there?
Yeah.
I always had good supplement sponsors, so that was never a factor for me. Like, in terms of, because that's a big expense. You know, when you're buying protein powders or whatever it is, you know, creatines, pre-work, whatever. That's a big expense. And I was always lucky in that sense. I was always lucky with the gyms. You know, Flex is an awesome gym. You know, and I was always lucky to have that sort of support. But most people don't have that. Most people just do not have that support. And it's, I don't know. As I say, you can look at somebody and sort of see they've got the potential. They've got the it thing to be good.
Yeah. And
you hear these young lads, and I'm not going to name names, but there's people that I know now who are just trying to get into competing. And I'm just looking, thinking, you're wasting your time. Like, but they need to make that individual choice to do that. And I would never, like you've just said, I'd never try to stop them. I'd encourage them and help them. And if they ask for advice, I'd never just go, yeah, by the way, you should be doing this. You should be. It's like, no, if you want me to help, I'm here for it. You know, I always have people to turn to, but I'll always guide them on the right track and, like, get your blood work done, get this done. Whether they listen or not is another thing altogether. But
and I think that's the thing. I think, like, when you know, like, people listening to probably like me and you, they'll be like,
we sound old,
boring, we sound old and boring, because I believe that like the others, they want the instant answer. So I find that they'll sometimes come and ask you a question, but they know what answer they want.
They want validation.
They want you to give.
They want validation.
And then when you don't give the validation, it's almost like, well, that's not rubbish.
And I'll go somewhere.
They go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else. Go and ask them, and then, like, they'll find some, because, like, there is like a lot of, like, dishonesty within this kind of. I was about to call it a sport, Aaron. I didn't want to offend you. Within the pageants, there's a lot of dishonesty, and there's like a lot of like people pulling strings. There's a lot of dodgy stuff going on behind, and when you those people who are up there, they're in a place of power, and when they see some of these young ones coming in, they're green beyond. They're very much green. And
same everything, though, really.
It doesn't matter. And when they come, it's almost like, we'll tell you what you want to hear, and then they'll go, well, right, this person, and like a lot of times they don't have like their what's the word I'm looking for? They're not really looking out for them. They're looking out to line their own pockets, or to have somebody else as a ambassador. Or
are you talking about, like, as in fitness coaches, personal trainers?
Whether it be fitness coach, personal trainers, and obviously competing and all that.
you do see that a lot. You'll see a lot of coaches. What qualifies as a coach? Well, what makes you a coach? Because it's almost like, oh, I'm a coach. Decide one day I'm going to start an Instagram page, put some photos, and say, I'm no coach. That's it. Okay, cool, right. So these coaches, like you say, they're trying to, I don't know, take advantage of, but then also as well, when somebody with good genetics comes along, they want to put their name to them. They want to say, well, I helped that person get to so and so. You know, that they want the credit for helping some, because then they can say, well, I did that. I know what I'm talking about. It's almost like another selling point for them. Yeah. And there's a lot of that as well. But what they don't show you, what these coaches don't show you is probably the wrong word to use, but the failures that they have, the people that don't do quite as well, the people that, you know, they've told to do something, it just hasn't worked out. They don't showcase that. They will always showcase the people who are going to do well no matter what. Yourself, for example, if you'd have gone, John, to, I don't know, pick any name in the UK industry or even internationally, you would have done well regardless, and you did. Like you never did you ever have a coach, or did you ever have somebody who was
one towards the end? Before when I'd done the Arnold's and my regional. Yeah. So I had a coach up for 2 shows.
Did that?
Yeah. So he basically helped me kind of polish what was already there. Yeah. I think I just needed to come down a little bit more. Yeah. And he just told me to take out like some bits out of my diet.
And this is the thing. That sort of information that people are paying for, that the coaches are then taking advantage of. That sort of information in the old school days, where you had to be introduced to the circle, as we were just talking about, you would have had that within your circle. You know, it was like you. If a flex, if somebody was getting ready for a show, and there's been tons of times where this has happened, we would have all chipped in ideas, and they would have gone, well, that sounds good. You'd had that conversation, but that would have happened regardless. That person would have been good regardless. But the coaches are then latching on and claiming credit for everything that they've done. And I
was quite fortunate. You know what? Because I was. My friend Joe, she put me on to my coach, Bob Wartrace, out in Dubai.
I know Bob, good guy. Yeah.
Bob's a really good
phenomenal bodybuilder.
And his shape is like immense. So one thing I liked about him, we pretty much were on the same level. Yeah. And like he just said in not so many words, he'd say, John, I'm just gonna. There's nothing. He basically said to me, "There's nothing that I need to do." But like I'm saying, well, if like in the world of like. Valet in the car, he was a detailer. He came in. He came in as a detailer and kind of he put the ceramics on there and made everything shine and made everything
polished.
Yeah. And I think that's probably just where I needed for that last that final push, because like looking at my 2 photos within the regional and the obviously onto the Arnold's. Yeah. I've never looked that crisp, and I didn't look as big, but like I've never looked that crisp and that like kind of defined before, because everything else I've done myself by eating avocados and fish. And when I told him on my diet, he was like, John, you can't have none of that in your diet. I was like, really? He's like, no, so I've been winning with this stuff for years. Like, nah, take it. So when he took it all out, I was like, and this is what I'm paying for. Yeah. But like he didn't take any kind of credit.
I didn't even know until you told me. I didn't know you were working with him. But I remember you saying now actually.
Yeah, I just very kept everything much like quiet.
I know a few people who've worked with Bob. They've always had good experiences.
Yeah, so but I hope he gets to listen to this. But like I'll always give credit where credit is due. He's a great coach.
And he's from. He's part of. It's a long story. There's a good friend of mine called Vicky McCann who lives up in Scotland. She's from Scotland, and they run the BNBF, the British Natural Bodybuilding Federation. Yeah. And he's part of that sort of like there's almost like a circle of it. You know, there's quite I can't think. Keefe, strong natural guy. You know what about?
I can't think I do.
No, he's another one. They're all part of the same sort of group. They've got the supplement company. They've got the BNBF. They've got a gym. They've got a nice setup, and they're good people. And Bob's part of that sort of like. So that doesn't surprise me. That's what he's like at all.
He was great for me, and I did say to myself, if I go back and do it again, I wouldn't use anybody else apart from him, because I think like you're talking about coach, you have to kind of you have to really get along. You have to kind of be. For me, it's like, like I just like to be on a normal level with someone, I'll talk to you about everything else about what we necessarily need to talk about in order for me to kind of go, I like you or not, or not as I like you, whether we get on. Because someone can come to you and go, I can do this, and this, and I'm like, okay, but I just want to know about you as a person. Am I okay? Is there times where I can just talk to you about something away from it, and then you'll give me your human side?
Yeah,
it's more important. Very important.
It's like with any relationship. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, as in a love relationship or a friendship or business or whatever it is. Everybody, this is the way I think of it. Everybody has got sort of allowable differences.
Yeah.
So there's something, okay, like you think of your missus. There's going to be things that your missus does that piss you off.
Yeah.
And there's going to be things that you do, guaranteed as a bloke, you piss her off with as well. It's whether or not you can live with that sort of that annoyance. Like my annoyance is I brush my teeth or have a wash or do my hair or whatever, and I leave a mess in the bathroom, and she will be there at the door after I've just finished, before I've had a chance to wipe up, to come in and go, you've left a bloody mess again, and you've done. But that's kind of like, it's not a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Whereas and then to go further with that, with bodybuilding, it's like, right, can I deal with this person? Do they respond well to me? Do they talk to me like a human being? Are they listening to me? It's whether or not you can have that. And that's the same with any relationship, really, a friendship. If somebody's just an absolute prick and you can't get on with them because you're just different, you don't necessarily dislike them, but it's not somebody you're going to keep around.
No.
Whereas, like, you can, if somebody's got a massive difference of opinion, and no matter what it is, if you can sort of bypass that, that's an allowable difference where you can get on with them. And it's the same with coaching, really, I think. Yeah.
Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to spin this conversation, because like I know that Jake is chomping at the bit, because I told him something about you this morning.
Oh, no.
And like I saw the excitement in his eyes. I've never, you know what, Jake's a very excitable guy, but when I just mentioned one thing, and I just saw his eyebrows disappear from here to the back of his head. Okay. And I was like, okay, bring him back. So, I told Jacob this. I was telling obviously Jacob that like obviously you used to do wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah. That was mad. Whenever we talk about it, what? You wrestling? Yeah.
I started wrestling around the same time I started bodybuilding. Believe it or not, also working out.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was the same year. Alex, I was 19, just before I turned 20, and this was another thing where this girlfriend I had, it was like something else I could do to get away from her almost. So it was really bad.
I get that.
But I got into it. I just started going wrestling. I'd always been a wrestling fan as a kid. Loved Hulk Hogan. Loved The Rock.
Good lad.
Loved he's back now. He's great. Loved all that. And then I was like, there's wrestling training. Absolutely, I'm going to this. It was a Dudley Leisure Centre.
Yeah.
And I went there and got into it, and it was really good because, as I say, I was getting, my body was changing, I was getting bigger and everything else, which goes hand in hand with wrestling. And I just stuck with it, and I've met some fucking cool people, so many cool people from it. I've got friends now who I was wrestling with on indie shows who are now in the WWE. Pete Doon, for example. I've been on shows with Pete, Tyler Bates, another guy. People who were in WWE, NXT UK, so like Dave Mastiff. He's a good friend of mine. He sort of trained me almost. Dave did. Who else is there? There's so many people who. I think there's a girl in AEW. Tony Storm.
Tony Storm.
Yeah, I've been on shows with her before.
I'll
tell you a story. I was on a show with Finn Balor before in Swindon. This is before it was about 3 months before he got signed to WWE. And I remember I was at this show. I was dead nervous. Really big show. 4FW, who were quite a big. I don't know if they're still going, but they were quite a big promotion in the UK.
Yeah.
And it's the only time I've ever been called by 4FW to do a show, and I was doing it with a mate of mine. So we drove down to Swindon, got to this venue, and there's this guy. He was ripped as fuck. Mate, he was like that. He was rock hard. And I was just sort of looked at him. I was like, "Man, you are fucking ripped." Just came out with it. And he looked at me and went, "Oh, you're fucking huge." And he's like, "Oh, that's a really bad Irish accent." Sorry to anybody that's Irish.
Well, it's Geordie.
Well, it may as well have been, or Welsh, whatever. But got talking to. I was like, he was the nicest guy. I didn't have a clue who he was. And then, let's say, 6 months later, I think he signed 3 months later, but then I didn't see him on TV till a few months after. I was like, I was on a show with him in Swindon. I love him. I think he's phenomenal.
Brilliant.
I've got a mate called Jay who's a Rockstar Spud. He was Brett Maverick.
Okay. Wow.
Good friend. Known him for 15 years. He now lives in Florida. He's married whenever we go to Florida, we kind of, you know, we see them, him and his wife, a few times.
Yeah.
We, you know, we meet up and stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, really, really cool.
You still do wrestling and stuff as well?
No, I believe it or not, I didn't do it for about 4 or 5 years because my thing was, if I was dieting for a bodybuild is the wrong way around, really. If bodybuilding always took a priority.
Yeah.
So if I was getting ready for a show, sort of around a month or two out, I would, if I had a booking for a show, I'd look, I can't do it, or I'm going to do minimal stuff. And sometimes that worked, and they were happy because I was ripped and I looked great. Other times they were like, "No, we need you to be doing a little bit more than that." So look, I can't do it. I can't risk the injury. I did do a mate of mine who ran a promotion locally called me last year and was like, "Oh, we've been booked to do a kids' party. You up for it?" I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Obviously, I've not done anything since my injuries.
Yeah.
And the twins had never seen me wrestle. My twins they're 8 next month. They'd never seen me wrestle because when I was still doing it, they were like 2, 3, so they never really saw too much. Toby, my eldest, hadn't seen me do it for a few years as well. So I'm like, "Yeah, okay, cool. I'm up for it." So I was a bit nervous, but went along. I had a blast. Had an absolute blast. I'd love to do more of it because I always enjoy it. I never have to do a lot because I'm a big guy, so you never have to like. I'm not doing all the flips and the flight. I'm doing the you know, the choke slams and all the rest of it. But it's just the response with the crowd. I was always the bad guy as well.
Oh, the heel.
So I was always sort of able to wind the kids up, and I loved it. Absolutely, it's just a circus show. Yeah, so I used to wrestle. I used to wrestle just in trunks and you know all the rest of it. But then, how many years ago was it? A few years ago, I was at like a family and friends party type thing, and I was talking to a mate of mine who said, "You should do like a new gimmick." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Wear a mask." I'm like, "Really?" He says, "Yeah." So I was like, "Okay, right." So we started brainstorming at this party. I think we did a few to drink, and then one of the rare occasions I drank. And he was like, "Yeah, we came up with this character called Victor, who was basically from Chernobyl, was affected by the radiation explosion. Was just we were basically trying to copy Kane without having a burning house and a big brother to burn." So he's fucked up from radiation. He feels no pain, doesn't speak English, just comes along, kicks everybody's ass. Yeah, that worked because he was like, "Well, if I do this, all I've got to do is come down to the ring, throw a few punches, do a choke slam, pin. Like I can do that and bodybuild." So that was what we went for. Nice. But the music was really, we had like an air raid siren. It was just, I had a manager as well, a guy called Neil, who I'm good friends with. And he'd come out with, he was like my mouth, he was my Paul Heyman, and or my Paul Bear, I should say. And that was it. It was, I love it, love it.
What's your thoughts of what's happened so
far? Oh, Matt, how good is it?
Oh, it's mad.
Okay, so this is obviously going to go out, and wrestling is kind of 1 month to the next changes no matter what. So The Rock's just come back.
Yeah, brilliant.
There's the whole Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns thing going on. We watch it every week now.
Yeah, I love it.
Because it's great because I watched it growing up, and then my kids are into it as well. Yeah. And even my wife's into it now. So we sit there like, let's watch Raw. We love it. Absolutely love it.
That's it. No.
That's what it's for. Yeah. You know, people take the piece out of the wrestling. Oh, it's predictable. It's fake. It's like, yeah, but so's the movie. You went to the cinemas.
This is right.
30 quid for like 2 tickets to go watch.
People that they're like,
Coronation Street.
Yeah,
it's not fake, it's choreographed.
Yeah,
because believe me, that shit hurts.
Imagine
you take a bump and don't land it right, you're in pain for a few days. You hit the ropes wrong when you run the ropes, you've got rope burn across your back. Like, and the thing is as well with a movie, if they mess a scene up, they just cut it and they retake it. Wrestling, you can't do that. You're in front of a live audience. You've got one shot. You screw it up, and I've screwed it up. Done it a few times. Don't get me wrong. You're done. That's it. And so anyway. Cody's come back. Sorry, Rock's come back. He's interjected himself into the main event. The Rock is faking the
did you watch? Yeah, that's
we held the L.
Pointing to the loser and everyone's there.
Yeah.
This stuff is going.
You need to watch, man. I'm going to send you a lot of clips.
Brilliant.
I had no interest in wrestling now, but I could no excitement for seeing your face. So I can feel it just radiating. I can feel it vibrating.
It's fun. So what's happened basically? The last pay-per-view Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Cody won, and like the winner is you get a championship match.
Yeah.
And he literally won. So I'm challenging Roman Reigns. That's one.
Roman Reigns has been the champion for like 3 years.
5,000 years. Yeah. And he's like, I'm fighting you. Then he's like, right, I'm not going to fight you. Your cousin is. Then obviously social media went, oh no, you can't do that because
the most dislikes on apparently on any video ever in the history of the world. Yeah.
And basically, I think there was loads of backlash. And like 2 weeks ago, was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, it was like basically to celebrate now the road to WrestleMania's happening. The Rock came on. Cody was like, no, I'm fighting Roman. And then like he didn't call him out, but Rock was like, you're making my family, slapped him, and
the Rock turned heel basically.
He turned bad guy.
But you can tell it's almost like a fake heel turn.
Yeah. But everyone is just like going, was it like legit and stuff? But now he's come back and he's brought his 90s persona where he's wearing all the overly merchandise shirts.
Nation of Domination almost.
Yeah. And he came in and like he was just like going, oh, Cody's a crybaby, blah, 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 blah. And like he's pointing at Roman going, you're gonna lose, you're a loser.
But he's making it seem like it's a Freudian slip. So like, oh, I didn't mean to say that, sort of like, yeah.
But it's just nuts, and like
it feels like the Attitude Era, doesn't it?
It's brilliant. I actually love it. Like, but like, so Roman Reigns and The Rock are my favorite wrestlers at the time. Like, so I'm literally like, I was saying to my mum, when they actually wrestle their theme songs, I'm gonna be like fainting all the time. So when I hear Roman Reigns' theme song coming, I'll be like, get up. Then I hear Rock's theme song, like that. So I would like faint like that, but honestly, watching it, I'm just like clapping and like some people. But like so many people go, oh, it's fight though, and you're like, it's fun, it's entertainment, and it's helped me get into the gym and stuff. Like someone was asking me who got you into the gym. Was like The Rock. Straight up, The Rock got me to training.
I'm wearing his thing.
Yeah, I was like Project Rock. And
like, when you saw that, I thought to myself, I'm sure. Did you?
Yeah, I've got.
I collect them. I actually, whenever I go to America, I always buy like I guess like the Under Armour outlets, and I'll spend like $700-800.
Honestly,
because you can't get it in the UK. I've got clothes that you can't get over here.
It's hard to get them and stuff. Like so, my tattoo is based on The Rock and Roman Reigns. So like I've got, so that's pretty much wrestling's done that for me and stuff. So I'm hyped for that.
The thing with The Rock as well, I admire him as I think he's had some shit films, but he's had some really good films.
Yeah.
But then I love him for being a wrestler. I love him for being an actor. But then I also admire him as a businessman as well.
Oh,
he's just invested in TKO, which owns UFC.
Yeah.
So he's almost coming into this storyline as the Vince McMahon, the corporate boss thing.
Man, yeah.
And it's just you can't help but look at him and just think you've won at life.
Oh God!
Yeah. You look at The Rock. You look at like Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Like they've won. They did it right. They've made mistakes, sure, but they've done it right, and that was.
The Rock.
That's the blueprints for success.
What he's done, he's like, but he was always coming across as a really genuine person. Yeah. Like I can remember that one video. He told me one story where he felt bad, where basically he was at a restaurant with his then wife and kid, and obviously he saw a fan. And the fan was like, oh, can I get a picture? And it's normally like, you can go, no, I don't want to do that. And he went, no. And he saw the look of the person's face and he went, I feel bad now because I said, go away. And he's like, no, I'll make time for you. Even though he'll be like, look, peace, I need to do my own thing. But he comes across as a very genuine
because I think the thing is, it's like, I remember like watching like obviously wrestling way back in the day when it was like Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan.
Ultimate Warrior and like Hulk Hogan and Axel.
Jake the Snake.
Axel, Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
And like all that kind of thing. And like I remember like when the theme music come on, I can remember feeling it in my soul. Like, I tell you what music or one I used to hear. I wasn't really a big fan of them as such. Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big shoulder pads.
Yeah. So when I used to get what a rush, and like I go, oh, get you all kind of like.
That's why he bodybuilds. He wants his shoulders to look like those shoulder pads.
No, I'll tell you where it did come. I'll tell you where, like, like spinning this back around, but like where it came from. I used to collect He-Man figures.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to have the biggest collection of He-Man figures. My mum used to take me to Zodiac. This is way back in the day. It was a toy shop in West Bromwich. Yeah. She used to take me to Zodiac and and I'd have like the whole. I'd have so many He-Man figures, and I think there's a picture of me obviously when I won one of my overalls, and I've got the sword.
Yes.
Pointed up, and I've got a picture of He-Man holding his sword up. Except I haven't got like the blonde there. But like, you don't realise that like obviously these guys, and obviously when we watch them, like they have such an effect on us. Yeah. And like and like they provokes such an emotion inside you.
It's inspiration, isn't it? It's something to look up to. It's something to sort of think, well, that's where I want to get to.
Yeah.
And that was always like with bodybuilding, it was Jay Cutler. With wrestling, it was The Rock.
Yeah.
You know, with business, it's whatever. It's just you just look up to somebody. You try to follow. You know, you do your own thing, but you do try to like. I look up to you. You're pointing like they stood there. Like, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you look up to that person. That's who you want to emulate almost. It's crazy, man. But wrestling, I love it.
What's your predictions before we move on? What's your prediction for Mania? You think Cody's going to finish his story?
I keep hearing that they're going to do 3 matches.
Yeah.
Have you heard this as well?
Yeah.
See, for me, the perfect scenario would be Rock versus Roman, Seth versus Cody.
Okay.
So then Roman Reigns wins against The Rock, beats The Rock, and then Cody beats Seth. And then, so that's for the title, and then they unify the title. Because I've heard as well they're trying to unify the titles.
I've heard like probably it's going to be a double hander. So night 1 is going to be Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth.
Right.
Then night 2 will be Cody versus Reigns.
Right.
But they've been hearing so many speculations, like Seth the way, because Seth was like, "I'm your shield, buddy," and everyone's like, "He's going to turn heel."
Yeah.
Then obviously you got a thing. Rock's going to turn on Roman.
But this is what's so good about wrestling. It's not predictable at all at the moment. It's. John, you need to get back into this. Man. You need to get back into it.
Saying,
whip out those shoulder pads again.
I'm just saying, as much as I'm a Roman Reigns fan, I love what he's done. I'm like, just give it to Cody. It's written in the stars.
But you know what's mad? You look at the evolution of Roman Reigns, right? He used to be. They couldn't get him over.
No, they couldn't.
No matter how much they shoved him down the fans' throats, they couldn't get him over. He had no charisma. There was no real persona. He was in good shape, but he was always covered up.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, I can't remember what I said to you now. I remember saying, I think probably my wife. Oddly enough, I remember saying he's not going to get anywhere until he takes his top off or he puts a pair of trunks on because he's in good shape.
Yeah,
but
good.
He doesn't look like a main event sort of thing. And you watch the rise he's had. It's been phenomenal.
Amazing.
He carried that company over COVID, really.
Yeah,
you know, when that sort of just had those horrible screens. Or whatever it was.
It was brilliant. But like I said, Mom knows where I get a bit when I act a bit Roman. She's like, "All right, stop it." And I'm like, and I keep
doing that. Go the long, because I think my friend Kelly, she absolutely loves him. I think she worships him.
Oh yeah, I mean he is a handsome fella. I ain't gonna lie.
LA Knight as well, just to throw that.
Oh, I love him. I love LA Knight. I love
it at the moment. I say to my kids, I go, "Hey, everybody, see!" And I just hear from different rooms, "Oh, hey, nice, yeah." They follow along, and it's like, this is so cool because it's like we can do this, we can watch it. It's enjoyable. The kids are into it. It's just becomes like
my mom does it. Like I've said it around the house, but she said she's taken in like everyday lingo. So I go, and she's like, back to me. It's just.
I'm glad it's not just me.
Yeah, no, I do it like because what do you watch? What Culture Wrestling and stuff.
No, what's that?
So it's basically a YouTube channel,
right?
Plug-in, and there's a wrestler there called Simon Miller,
right?
And he does like a lot of like, he's made What Culture Wrestling like phenomenal because he like I only watch his reviews for SmackDown, Raw, NXT, and he always does shows, but he's got sayings. And so I shout 2 + 2 is potato. Mum's like, I like that.
Yeah.
Then I've started saying around the gym, it makes me warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. Then everyone's like, what? And I'm like, then it's only like the really niche people going, I know where that's from, innit? I'm like, yeah, I got you.
It's like a thing, innit?
I got you. But like, it's like I said, I think wrestling has just got that really easy gimmick. You literally just say a fancy word and it will get over. Like,
and it used to be a thing, I think, when you were a few years ago. Maybe it's just because we're older. A few years ago, people would say, "Oh, you still watch wrestling?" What are you? And you used to, only sometimes. If it's on and there's nothing else on, and it's a Friday and I've got nothing else to do.
But now
it's like, I do. I can record that shit every single week. I watch it.
You know what? You're talking about this. Because like this, like I've seen something, and this girl was going, "Oh, why do you guys never grow up?" And why do you guys get together? And I'm like, and this one guy said, well, basically, it's a Texas to that time where we're kids and we used to have that feeling inside. And obviously talking about like the wrestling. So I'm not getting involved in this conversation because I'll just the excitement with
it. Will be next time.
I will be next time. But I'm like,
I can't believe that happened.
But why would you stop doing something which brings you so much joy? Why would you stop watching? Because like I still love cartoons.
Yeah,
I still do. The reason why like my son loves cartoons so much, when he likes some of the not darkest stuff. Like I got my son into Family Guy when he was about. Like, but like cartoons and stuff, it always takes me back to that place. Yeah. So why would you stop? And like you know for myself now, and just like as you said. You'd be a bit embarrassed to tell someone you watch wrestling. Yeah. So what, man? It's like, you know what? Do you know what it does for me? It puts Jacob's eyebrows back in. It's
me like, yes,
Gets Aaron scrunching his face thing like, yes.
But the thing is as well, I think because I've done it and I've been in matches, like I know how it feels. I'm actually not on the scale of like fucking WrestleMania or even a SmackDown or even a house show. You know, the most I've wrestled in front of is probably a couple of hundred people. You know, but still, the buzz, and like because of the mask I wore, the Victor mask, which is okay. The story, I'll send you a photo. This mask, I searched on eBay. I was looking for a mask of some sort. I knew I wanted like a war mask of some sort of fancy dress. Saw this mask, Yugoslavian gas mask, got like a thing on the side.
Yeah.
The glasses, it looks freaky as fuck. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is just like a dress up thing. No. It came in the post. And it still got dirt on the eyes. There was still like rust. I was like, some poor fucker's died in this mask. Somebody actually worn this on about it. Like it was legit. And the first time I wore it was actually at the River Rooms in Stourbridge. There used to be a show there. I used to wrestle there for a friend of mine, and he ran that venue. And I came out, got the glass, and I left all the pieces on. I was thinking, I'd be fine. I couldn't breathe that well, but I thought I'll get out there, it'll be fine. Got out there because of the heat. The glass is steamed up. The glass steamed up, so I couldn't see anything. So I wrestled the whole match basically like semi-blind. I couldn't breathe because there was no air holes. Got back, ripped the mask off, and I was like gasping for air. I was like, right, the glasses coming out. So I took all the bits off. But it's that was the story behind the mask. But it's just I love wrestling. It's great. I don't care. I'm going to be 50, 60, 70, still cheering for it.
Wicked, man. Right, so the next thing we'll spin on to is like not many people would know that like you don't fit the characteristics of a programmer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like how long have you been programming for?
I'm 36, I'm 37 this year, and I started to learn to program when I was 13. And the way it came about, and you'll appreciate this actually, you'll like. Okay, so did you ever used to play Football Manager?
Yeah. Never played it, but
hours I've spent on even now, like on EAFC 24. There's a manager thing where you can manage a team. I used to love all that, like buying players, selling players. And then there was a game called Promotion Wars, and there was another game called Extreme Warfare Revenge. And what they were wrestling manager games. So you used to be Vince McMahon. You used to pick a wrestling company at the time. It was WCW or WWF, WWE. And you used to have to sign wrestlers, put matches on, get ratings, get sponsorships, set up feuds. You used to manage a wrestling company like you would a football team. So I sat there at the age of 13, or 12, 13, loving these games, thinking, I'm going to build a game. I'm the type of person where if I enjoy something, I have to be involved. I can't just sit back and watch. Wrestling, love wrestling. I'm going to try wrestling training, bodybuilding. I want to be massive. Got into bodybuilding, competing. So I was like, I can build a game. Everybody else has built a game. Why can't I build a game? So I learned how to program. I learned I needed something called Visual Basic 6, which is a really old programming language. Got a copy of Visual Basic 6 from LimeWire and all these dodgy things that we had back then.
LimeWire,
yeah. They didn't work, so I went out and bought the copy legitimately for any police officers listening. I did actually buy a copy of Visual Basic. Bought a copy of Visual Basic and just started to learn to program. And then so I started building this game. I've still got the source code for it, so I've got all the code that I wrote when I was 13, still on a hard drive somewhere. And and I was like, well, I need a website to tell people that I'm building a game. So I learned how to build a website, set up a GeoCities, it was Yahoo had like somewhere where you could go to build a web page, like just literally drag and drop things on. But then I learned HTML, I learned CSS, I learned JavaScript, and I learned something called ASP, which is like a programming language for the web. And it just snowballed, and I just got into it. And I always want. I always wanted to be a police officer. Growing up, always wanted to be a police officer. I admired the police, the fact that they go out there to serve and protect, all that sort of stuff. And I used to watch The Bill, so I was like, so like, there's a theme going here. I see something, I'm like, I could do that. I watched The Bill, and I was like, I want to be a police officer. That's a really good job. That's what I want to do. And then when I turned 18, I left college. Didn't do great at school. Didn't do great at college. And then I got a job at the school that I went to, doing programming. So did that, and it just went from there. Just went from job to job to job. 2015, I went self-employed, and that's what I've been doing ever since. So yeah, that was my sort of thing for programming. Yeah.
Cause like now after the stuff you've told us, I see where it all kind of ties in a little bit now.
Yeah.
So going from the programming, and we'll kind of like make this segue into the fitness portal.
Tell us more about that one.
So like, I want you to tell us about this, because like basically, when you've kind of like only got like a little bit of information, we just tell people that's just the best part.
Yeah.
So I tell so many people about this fitness portal. I say, my mate Aaron is actually built this website, and he's built this.
I bought this for you, by the way. This is for you. I didn't bring you one as well, Jacob. Sorry, mate. I didn't know how many. I bought the one. Yeah. I want you to do this, John. Your genetics is going to be like fucking superstar.
Oh, love to do that.
So I'll send you what you want sent out. Yeah, definitely.
I'm telling people that you've developed this. I said, my friend Aaron's got this. He's just bodybuilding. There's a program, and like he's developed this thing for DNA testing. Yeah. So, but I feel I haven't given it no justice. So what I want you to do is tell us everything.
The elevator pitch.
Yeah. Just tell me everything about it. Because
okay, so it started off. I built a platform, the fitness portal. I wanted to build something. I was like, right, I'm a programmer. I'm in the fitness industry. This is 2019, just before COVID, and there's a reason for it. So I built it, and what I built was essentially a platform where, because I just worked with Chris Aceto, like Jay Cutler's coach, like 2018. Wow. I learned so much. I was like, right, this was being done via email. So it was like Chris's replies, ask anybody who's been coached by Chris Aceto, are legendary. Generally, they are one word. Sometimes you get a little bit of a sentence, but it's like you send him photos, he'll say like, yeah, best being or best look yet. And then he'll just like send photos in 3 days, like really short responses via email. And the problem I was having was like I was having to search through emails to look for what he told me to do and all that. Like Chris is old school, apparently. He keeps everything on paper files in an office somewhere in his house. So it's like, well, surely there's got to be a better way of doing this. So what if I built a platform, which I can build this, I'm a programmer. And what if I built a platform where basically a coach can load their clients onto the platform, set diets, set training plans, get check-ins, all this sort of stuff on one system. There's no need for WhatsApp, there's no need for email, there's no need for searching for photos to do comparisons side by side, using a pic collage app or whatever. So I built it. So I built a platform, the fitness portal. And the reason I called it the fitness portal was because I wanted it to be a portal for all things fitness. So I'd got a vision for it, starting off as a coaching app, but then going into like, physiotherapy or just being like a one-stop shop for everything fitness. I didn't know how it was going to work out. But anyway, so I built this, got it done. When was it? February 2020. The world goes bananas and shuts down because of COVID. So I was like, right, great. So I built this platform, this fitness portal platform for coaches and personal trainers to coach their clients, and Boris Johnson's going to shut all the fucking gyms. So I was like, this couldn't have been timed better if I tried, basically. So, and this was a mistake because in essence, this was the perfect time to launch the fitness portal for what it was as a coaching app, because people were doing more online stuff, and I just didn't see that at all. I was like, I'll put it to one side, let 3 weeks to flatten the curve and all that bullshit. And it's like, right, great, okay, so in a few months' time, I'll launch it, and it never happened. Then fast forward to sort of 12 months ago, so we're now in 2024. Around this time last year, the guy who I knew called Chris Collins, he's a geneticist, one of the smartest people I've ever met. Like, the way his mind works is phenomenal. Like, genetics, understands everything. Like, I can ask him a question on something. He's like, it's this gene, it's this SNP, it's this allele. Like, he'll know everything. He came to me, he's like, right, so you've built this platform. How do you feel about building in the DNA part of it? No, beg your pardon. It was around October, November 2022. So year before last. And I was like, I'm not too sure. I don't know. I wasn't keen on the idea. I got my DNA tested. This is how I know Chris. I got it done like 7-8 years ago when it was first in its infancy, and I found it really beneficial. That's how I learned I got the MSTN gene, like the myostatin defect. This is how I learned that high protein does really well for me. This is how I know that unsaturated fats works really well for me. So I was kind of to and fro with the idea, and then he came back to me like 2 months later. We should really do this. I've got some really cool ideas. I was like, right, okay, cool. So I rebuilt it from the ground up, incorporated the DNA testing, and we launched it May last year at the Expo. And that's just been it, really. We've just gone from there. But Chris and their wider actually, we're working for a company who do DNA testing for longevity all over the world. So they've got a testing center, they've got all the algorithms, they've got a platform. And what the fitness portal is basically using that company as almost like a testing lab, but rather than a longevity, rather than in a how to live forever, it's more of a performance, optimum health for fitness and for bodybuilding or for athletics or whatever it is you're doing. And that's where it came about, really. So the coaching app now has a DNA arm to it, and the next stage is going to be blood work, the next stage is going to be physiotherapy, and it's just about linking all those things in. I've had people sort of ask me, the fingerprint fob when you go into a gym, or the membership system, about building something like that in there, because I could do it. I could spend a few months building like a checkout system for gyms, like a membership system for gyms, and it could be incorporated. So then you've got gym membership, coaching, DNA, all these things, and it becomes a portal, like a fitness portal, so to speak. So that's where it all came about, really. But yeah, so we've built in a DNA testing facility, almost DNA platform onto the fitness portal, and that's it. But all of the algorithms on there are how to get the absolute most out of your body in the best possible way. So it's not a diagnosis. It doesn't diagnose anything. It just basically says, this is your DNA, this is your blueprint, this is what works for you, this is what doesn't work for you. These are the areas you should pay attention to. And these, for you to become the optimum version of you, this is where you need to pay attention to. This is the style of training you need. These are the supplements you need. This is how you should structure your diet. This is how much sleep you need. This is your response to stress. This is how you handle stress. So it just gives people the full blueprint of what makes them who they are.
Is that just within like a category of like people like who within sports or?
No, obviously, right. Okay, so your DNA never changes. You're born with it, you die with it. It never alters. So you only have to do this test once. You'll never have to do it again, because your results are your results. It's never going to change. So it applies, believe it or not, we've had more people buy this who are probably enthusiastic gym goers, shall we say, that they're at Pure Gym or they're at Gym Group or whatever, than competitive bodybuilders, believe it or not. Like, I built this thinking all the competitive bodybuilders are going to be like, I need this. I need to know how to get that extra few percent out of myself. We've had a few, but nowhere near what I thought. It's been the general gym goers who are just starting out, just looking to not make the mistakes that we made starting out. They're just like, right, well, I just want to know how to train properly. This is going to tell me, which it does, how I am best to train based on my genetics. That's exactly what it does. That's what people go for. I think with bodybuilders, they've seen it and gone, but I like training the way I train. That's not optimum, and they don't want to know what's optimum. Again, it comes down to that sort of, this is 300 quid or it's 160, depending on which test you have. Like, well, 300 quid, man, how many bottles of test can I get for that?
Oh yeah.
That's that mentality.
And it goes back to, I think, what you were saying before about, like, obviously not people not wanting to look further on down the line, but they just want to know what.
Yeah, but that's a really good snapping reality. So it gives you a good idea to like go, right, I know what's going to work for me. And it makes it more individualized now, especially for people going, I'm going to copy your workout. Like, no,
it doesn't work. And then, do you know what's crazy as well? We've actually got 3 or 4 coaches now who are sort of advertising themselves as DNA coaches, because what they do, all of their clients, they get to do they're on the fitness portal as a coach. So they're using the coaching aspect of setting diets and plans. Then what they do, the DNA, a coach can see their client's DNA, so they can go in. Phone's playing up. They can go in, and look at their client's DNA and set their plans based on their DNA. So if you've got a client, let's just say you typically prescribe higher volume training because that's what you like, but you've got a client who's had their DNA tested and they respond better to a 5x5, like a lower volume program. What are you going to do? Are you going to go with what you think you know best, or what actually is best for that individual? And it could set the guesswork. The results we've had, phenomenal. We had a guy up in Scotland who had his DNA tested, and he didn't realise he'd got elite level, like really good levels for VO2 capacity. So he has decided to test it and has got into cycling week on week has bested his cycling times. I'm not too sure how he's measuring it. He did a video for us, and he was like, "Yeah, I didn't realise, but I'm a really good cyclist." And he didn't know because he didn't do his test beforehand. But
someone to do that workout like I'm a really good swimmer, even though I can't swim.
He won't tell you individual sports as such, but they could do. You never know. But that's the sign to start learning to swim. But no, it will. Like I say, it'll tell you your response to macronutrients, to styles of training, to certain supplements, genetic deficiencies. It tells you your optimum time to be sleeping every night. A guy that I help, a friend of mine. He calls me. I'm not his coach. I'm a mate who helps him. Like he lives up north. And I've helped him for a few competitions. A guy called Johnny. He's like a little brother. We've got that sort of like friendship. Like he turns to me, and if he's got problems or whatever, and I think I give him no bullshit. I just sort of say, that's wrong, or he knows I'll be straight with him. It's always for his best. It's always my intention for the best for him. So he was 6 weeks out from a show we were doing, and he just wasn't losing weight. He wasn't coming down. He works shifts. He's got young daughters. He's married. A lot going on. Got his DNA tested. It came back that he's highly susceptible to stress. It came back that he has to get 10 hours of sleep a night, otherwise he just doesn't function properly. But he also came back that he was a super responder to ashwagandha. So right, okay, so we've got pieces to the puzzle here. We didn't know any of these factors. So he works shifts. He's highly susceptible to stress, but he responds well to ashwagandha. And there's a few other vitamins and things as well that he was deficient in. So we implemented all this, like, right, you have to be in bed by this time, you have to get this much sleep, take ashwagandha. We got him the Strom Neuro PM. All these factors to reduce his stress. We didn't change his diet. Well, actually, no, we did. He was using pineapple for digestion, but he doesn't respond well to sugar, so we took that out. We put in more unsaturated fats, which he responds really well to. And all of a sudden, his body just went phenomenal. Cruised into the show. The pictures. Did no cardio. He just trained, slept, ate in accordance to his DNA, kept his stress levels low, used the supplements and vitamins that the system had said you respond really well to. And it all came together. It was quite. I was nervous, if I'm honest, because I thought, if we implement all these changes and it doesn't fucking work, like, there's always, I know it's going to work because I know the science is solid. It's been there for years. But I was always like, in the back of my mind thinking, if this doesn't work, I'm fucked. But it did.
You know what you just said something there where you said that, and no cardio. So anybody
this is something we've got in common.
So anybody like who does any competitors, it's like your coach will always go, make sure you do like a shed load of cardio, make sure you walks in there and you do this, that, the other. And all my shows prior, my cardio was minimal. I think I'd picked up like a 2 kg and just moved them really quick.
Cardio? You mean doing sets faster than normal?
Exactly. So I was never really an advocate for doing like lots of cardio. But like it just goes to show that like when you see, cause I remember I think you said to me, you said like when I was asking, I think I asked you about cardio once, and you said to me, John, do cardio, but don't do it to an extent of where you're going absolutely mad. Just do it until you get like a bit of a. You said to me something like this. You get like a little bit clammy.
If you can hold a conversation while you're doing it, that's a nice pace. That's just getting your heart rate up.
Not to kind of like really hammer it. And like I think most people get the same level of advice, don't they? Oh, you eat this, drink loads of this water, and even with all the waters and all that kind of stuff as well. But like a lot of that stuff, it's almost like a blueprint that everyone gets.
One size fits all approach. We're all individuals.
100% agree.
That's actually, believe it or not, about 7 or 8 years ago when I got myself DNA tested. I've done it again since on the fitness portal, because we've got access to more SNPs now. Whereas back then, 7 or 8 years ago, it was still in its infancy. The testing wasn't as accurate. The reason I got mine done was because I was getting ready for shows, doing tons of cardio, training how I thought best, which was best for me, eating a certain way. Like everybody was telling me, oh, you need loads of carbs because you're big, you need loads of carbs. And I was thinking, but I can't lose weight if I'm getting loads of carbs. But you have to cut your fats down. You have to get carbs. It was an old school way of thinking. Loads of cardio. You spend 2 hours a day on a treadmill. I thought there's got to be a better way of doing this. When I saw DNA testing, I was like, well, I'm going to do that because I want to find out if there's something fucking deformed within me. It came back, and this is how me and Chris got talking, Chris the geneticist, because I bought the test, sent it off, and I remember he called me, And he said, like, introduced himself. I'll never forget. I was in my kitchen, and he said, told me who he was. Says, have you got your results back? I says, yeah. He says, what sort of, can I ask, what sort of like sports are you into? And I was like, well, I don't do any sports. I do a pageant called bodybuilding. I said, well, I do. I'm a bodybuilder. She's like, do you do powerlifting or anything? I was like, no. He said, you've got really good genetics for this. I said, what do you mean? And like, he went through the results with me. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I said, I'm going to put together, because this was still in its infancy back then. He says, I'm going to put a report together for you with all this information. And so he did. He said, have you got any questions? I was like, well, here's one. I'm doing tons and tons of cardio. I'm struggling to lose body fat. He said, what type of cardio are you doing? I said, I'm doing like 60 minutes at a time, morning and evening. He went, don't. I says, why? He says, because you don't respond to that type of cardio. And I was like, well, what do I do then? He says, hit. Do hit intervals. Like, you sure? I said, yeah. Your muscle fiber types, you adapt too quickly to lower intensity stuff. You have to hit it hard and get out, basically. Which, when you think about it, that was the style of training I was doing. I was 12 sets, bump, 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 12 times, done. That's it. Because you think about weightlifting, it's essentially hit. It's short bursts of intensity or short bursts of intensity, whatever you're doing, and you stop, you have a break, and that's exactly what hit is. And that's why I responded so well to that style of training. But then when it came to cardio, I implemented the same thing again, and it worked. And I was like, fuck, this is pretty cool. This is. And that's why we stayed in contact. And then obviously, as I say, October 2022, that's when Chris got in touch with me. And yeah, so it's pretty cool. But like I say, we built the fitness portal. I'm not a scientist. I'm not. All I've done is built the technology to calculate the algorithms and do all the techie geeky stuff. So it's quite cool, because whenever Chris sends across new algorithms or something to do, I get to see that when I build it, I get to see that formulate and the results come out. And it's almost like I'm getting a sneak preview of what the data is telling us and what the information is. So it's quite fascinating for me. And then obviously when other people see it, they're like, fuck, that's really cool. You know, it's interesting. It really is interesting.
Because obviously there's definitely a niche in the market for it, isn't there?
Oh, it's definitely.
I think so. Yeah. I think the problem we've had is a lot of people don't know it can be done. But the idea that it's just a saliva sample, you just literally spit in a tube, screw the cap on, put it in the self-return envelope, send it off to the lab, and then 3 to 4 weeks later, your results come back. They get loaded onto the fitness portal. You get an email, and it's like, right, there's your DNA blueprint, and then the system can build workouts for you based on your DNA, based on your schedule. So if you say, right, it asks questions. So how experienced are you? How much time have you got to work out? All these sorts of questions. And what it does, it uses the algorithms from the system versus your DNA, and then maps out based on your lifestyle what's best for you in that sense. DNA reports, it runs off like lifestyle reports on how best to lose. More big picture thinking. So if somebody's trying to lose body fat, they can run off a fat loss report. It'll tell them how to handle social situations. There's a you've heard of ghrelin, the hormone ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone. Some people, and I'm one of them, have very high levels of ghrelin, so you're more likely to snack. You're more likely to be a picker when it comes to eating. Now it will tell you then how to handle work situations so you don't pick. That's and cool. All the little things like this. But I think a lot of people don't know that we can do this because they're just unaware of it. They think a saliva sample or a DNA test is for like 23, well, not 23andMe, but Ancestry, to find out their lineage or something. It's like, no, we can pull out so much more. Like we're doing stuff now, not the fitness portal, but like a Moodoo, the testing company. We're doing stuff now with like disease risks. So what something I built last year for them is the ability to put two parents together, compare their DNA against. This is all under a doctor, by the way. It compares the two parents' DNA, and it will tell you the likelihood of their children having certain diseases and illnesses, which is fucking incredible, really.
Mate, that's
again. All I was doing was following instructions as to how to put the DNA stuff together. But for me, seeing it shape up on screen as I'm building it was fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
It sounds like some groundbreaking stuff, because like even the thing with, as you just talked about that a bit about the parents and like obviously people getting together and like, because ultimately it's like you meet someone and like obviously you set up together and like you're gonna have kids together. It's almost like a bit of a lottery of what's going to come out or what it's going to be or because I think before you become a parent, like you always know, the only thing you say is like, I just want the child to be healthy, or
you do.
With a portal now, you know.
Yeah,
it's true.
And but you know, it seems like it's so advanced, and like, and it's not just being biased because you're my mate, but not enough people know about it.
And I'm really bad at marketing. I'm really bad at sales as well. So
this is what we can do.
It's bizarre because I'm not the greatest. I'm not the greatest.
We find it hard. I think all three of us find it hard to shout about ourselves.
Yeah.
And like I said, I built it thinking this is a really cool thing. And if people take it up, they take it up. If they don't, they don't. Like I think we've tested 60, 70 people now since May last year, and that's without any real hardcore marketing as such, so to speak. You know, it's just been word of mouth and all the rest of it. But like, my kids want to get their DNA tested. It sounds really stupid. I know that's really cool because it's your kids, but my eldest is getting into kickboxing. Like, he's a really good kickboxer. So now on a weekend, like, he wants to come to the gym with me because he now he's 13. He can see the value of being fit and healthy. So he's like, Dad, can I test my DNA and see what works best for me? And I'm almost like, I'm not too sure if I want him to, because I don't want him to like limit. I don't want him to think, right,
I can't do this.
Yeah, I don't think he would, but I'm just a bit cautious. And then my twins, the youngest twin, Jensen, the day he was born, I'm not joking, I said, he's got the MSTN defect that I've got. The MSTN, myostatin. Have you seen those Belgian blue balls? The ones that double muscle. Well, there's a human form of that. It's basically a defect. What myostatin does is stops you from becoming too muscular that you can't move. So that's what the myostatin does. If you've got a defect, it means that you grow more muscle, which obviously is great for bodybuilding, but obviously in terms of movement, it doesn't go far enough that you're sort of disabled. But it's quite a good defect to have. Now, I've got a weird variation of that. Now, Jensen, my youngest twin, the day he was born, he was lay down in the incubator, and it sounds really stupid. I could see it already. Like, you could see the lines. Like, he was very slim in the waist, and like even now he's 7. He's 8 next month. The twins are 8 next month. Jensen's ripped. Like, he's got a 6-pack. Like, he's got cab shoulders. He's got like a little bicep. Whereas his twin brother, they're non-identical twins, but his twin brother Archer, my other son, obviously, my other twin son, he's just a normal kid, and he obviously hasn't got that defect. And the same with my eldest Toby, he hasn't got it, whereas Jensen definitely has. I'm convinced. So I'm sort of like, I do want to test them, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
Would it be from the point of view that like you don't want them to kind of like box themselves? Because like there's probably an element of that where like someone could like test and then ultimately go, right, this is all I'm going to do, and because like it's good to be optimal performance, but it's also good like to say, well, you know what, sometimes I'll do this, and not to kind of like kind of box yourself in.
It's depends how you look at it. Knowledge is power. Right? You know, the more you know, the better. Whether it's positive or negative, knowledge is power. So I'm just apprehensive. I don't know really. They're keen to do it, but I'm just like, it feels a bit ethically wrong in a way. Like it's not. There's no legalities about it. DNA testing my kids to see what they're good for in sports. I'm trying to like. It almost feels like an air of like, I don't know, trying to. I don't know.
No, I get what you mean.
Like the evil scientist.
Yeah, you know, it feels very sort of. What is it in Captain America? Hydra. Hail Hydra. Like, we're testing all of our children to see what they're good at, and we're going to put them in a concentration camp to make sure they're
smart thinking.
He's like Lex Luger.
Yes, it feels like almost a little bit. I don't know. I might do when I get back. So come on, here's a DNA test. Spit in the tube. Let's see what you've got.
Should we wrap things up there?
Yeah, well, you know what? I think like. Because there's bits of the questions on there, but you've already got to them already, which I've loved. So we've kind of covered everything. And you know what? It's been absolutely amazing.
Really good, man. Thank you so much.
It's quite warm here. Sorry, I've got to get to. Like it's free when we got in now. It's like really good. But
I was looking at that.
Yeah, it is. Yes, still. But like, I'm really, really appreciative of you coming down today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Hopefully, it comes out all right.
You stop worrying. Stop worrying. But
brilliant.
Keep the bad shit out.
So Aaron, if anybody wants, listen. First and foremost, if anybody wants to find you, obviously where you do with the DNA testing, where do they?
Just thefitnessportal.net is online, and then just Instagram. Just look on for the fitness portal. The fitness portal, Facebook as well. That's it, really. Yeah.
Okay, superb. Anything you want to wrap?
Pretty much, guys, if you can just do us a favor as well, just like please tag, share, and just follow us, because this is going to help us just build a massive following. So you can follow the page at Down to the Core Podcast, or you can follow ourselves. So jwright.pt.
And coached by John Collins.
And follow yourself by Aaron.
Yeah, just Aaron.
Just Aaron, yeah.
Aaron Hudson, at least. At Aaron Hudson.
Yeah.
You know what we were saying before you come? There's a guy coming, and there's a comedy sketch, and the guy was like, "Oh well, people's names, Aaron."
Yeah.
I don't know why I've got two. I asked my mum.
That's one of the questions that no one knows.
It doesn't make sense. And then people call me Aaron, so it's like
Aaron.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, please tag, share us. So like I said, jwright.pt.
And just look for John Collins. You'll find
John Collins coach.
Yeah.
And Aaron Hudson. Yeah.
Aaron Hudson. Yeah.
That's super. Right then, guys, we shall wrap it up there. I think we've had like a really interesting,
really good talk, man.
Really good talk.
No,
and until next time,
peace.
Peace.